Tonight, into the breach.
This was by far the worst of the worst.
Security officials agree the January siege at the Capitol was a planned attack.
What we got was a military-style coordinated assault on my officers.
The first day of public hearings on the deadly riot. Plus,
he's not a doctor.
Why President Biden's pick to head up Health and Human Services is under fire over his qualifications and position on abortion. And
is very troubling.
A spotlight on the plight of an Iraqi religious minority and what it means for Christians. All this and more tonight on Faith Nation.
What went wrong in the run-up to the Capitol Hill riot? Hi, everyone. Thank you for joining us this evening. I'm Jenna Browder.
And I'm John Jessup. Tonight, the first public hearing from lawmakers intent on cracking open how law enforcement missed the warning signs that allowed the January 6 rioters to breach the United States Capitol.
Those who were in charge of securing and defending the Capitol were in the hot seat today. CBN National Security Correspondent Eric Phillips has tonight's top story. Eric?
Jenna and John, the hearing boiled down to three main themes: intelligence, preparedness, and response. In fact, one witness flatly said he was surprised by the response, or lack thereof. These images remain burned into the memories of Americans, perhaps even more so for those in this room, many living through the attack as it happened.
We need to know. Was there credible intelligence about potential violence? When was it known, and who knew it?
On the hot seat, the former U.S. Capitol Police Chief, along with the former sergeants-at-arms of both the House and Senate. Each resigned after the riots, with the chief now saying he regrets doing so. Also appearing before the Senate panel, the acting chief of the D.C. Metropolitan Police Department. Three themes resonated repeatedly. First, the insufficient intelligence leading up to January 6th.
We properly planned for a mass demonstration with possible violence. What we got was a military-style coordinated assault on my officers and a violent takeover of the Capitol building.
Based on the intelligence, we all believed that the plan met the threat and that we were prepared. We now know that we had the wrong plan.
Then a general issue with preparedness.
No civilian law enforcement agency, to include the United States Capitol Police, is trained or equipped to repel an insurrection of thousands of individuals focused on breaching a building at all costs.
Thirdly, response. Acting Police Chief Robert Conti told the committee that D.C. Metro Police could not respond until he got the request from U.S. Capitol Police.
The mob's sustained assault on the Capitol precipitated an equally unprecedented response, with then Capitol Police Chief Steve Sund issuing an urgent request for MPD to come assist in defending the Capitol.
He says his force responded immediately, but he questions the sluggishness in requesting National Guard help.
I was surprised at the reluctance to immediately send the National Guard to the Capitol grounds.
Investigating the events of January 6th continues to be a central focus in Washington. Attorney General nominee Merrick Garland even testified during his confirmation hearing that prosecuting white supremacists and others who stormed the Capitol would be his top priority if confirmed.
I don't think that this is necessarily a one-off. We must do everything in the power of the Justice Department to prevent this kind of interference with the policies of American democratic institutions.
Today will not be the last time lawmakers look into what happened before, during, and after the siege. In fact, next week they will hear from federal agencies like the FBI, Department of Homeland Security, and the Department of Defense to find out more about intelligence and response. John and Jenna.
All right, much more to come. Eric Phillips, thank you very much. Well, concern tonight for the pro-life community. Many are speaking out forcefully against President Biden's pick to lead the Department of Health and Human Services. Javier Becerra's confirmation hearing beginning today in the Senate.
Lawmakers from both sides of the aisle sizing up whether he's the right person to lead the agency as the nation fights through a pandemic. CBN White House correspondent Ben Kennedy joins us now with details. Ben, how is Becerra defending himself?
Well, John and Jenna, Becerra promises, if confirmed, he'll help more people get access to health care and lower prescription costs. But critics question his medical experience.
Thank you, Madam Chair.
Becerra comes to this role after more than 20 years in Congress and succeeding Kamala Harris as California Attorney General.
I understand the enormous challenges before us and our solemn responsibility to faithfully steward this agency that touches almost every aspect of our lives.
The biggest challenge, combating the pandemic.
The COVID pandemic has killed 500,000 Americans, many of them alone without their families. Millions more have lost their jobs in healthcare. That is not the America my parents would believe possible.
Becerra highlighted his efforts on healthcare and fighting to protect the Affordable Care Act.
What are you going to do, if confirmed, to move this country forward to provide healthcare to all people and also substantially lower the cost of prescription drugs?
I believe President Biden made it very clear. If we work hard to build on the Affordable Care Act, and if we continue to make improvements, we will get to that point where we will finally, as the leading nation in the world, be able to say that we truly do cover all of our people.
Becerra would lead the agency most involved with regulating abortion, which worries pro-life advocates.
There's the famous Supreme Court case of NIFLA versus Becerra, in which Javier Becerra was trying to force crisis pregnancy centers to promote abortion. We had to take that case all the way to the Supreme Court.
Becerra's qualifications are also in question, with critics saying the 62-year-old is not a medical professional and has no public health experience.
I mean, you're a very highly trained attorney. Great, impeccable credentials. I'm a physician. What would you as the attorney think if I, the physician, were nominated to be the United States Attorney General as opposed to Merrick Garland? You would say, the guy's not qualified. Maybe HHS secretary, maybe not.
The mission of HHS, to enhance the health and well-being of all Americans, is core to who I am.
Now, Becerra is likely to get confirmed despite Republican opposition. Democrats hold a very narrow lead in the Senate, with Vice President Harris as the tie-breaking vote. John, Jenna?
All right, Ben Kennedy, thank you very much. And Senator James Lankford of Oklahoma joins us now. Senator, good to have you with us this evening. Let's pick up right where Ben left off. You called for the Biden administration to withdraw Javier Becerra's nomination, someone you've referred to as one of the most ardent abortion advocates in the country. What are your biggest concerns about Becerra?
Well, several things have already come out that you've already stated there, and one is that obviously he has no medical background. We're in the middle of a pandemic, and he's not a scientist, he's not a medical professional, he's an attorney. And so to be able to put an attorney leading the healthcare issues for our nation, number one, doesn't make sense. If you were doing a LinkedIn profile looking for someone to be able to fill this job, he wouldn't even show up in the search because he has no healthcare background. The second part of this is he has been a very outspoken advocate for increasing abortion in California and across the country, and I find it very ironic that the person who's leading, or who Biden is tapping to lead Health and Human Services, considers human services promoting abortion in the country. I don't find that a human service. I find that inhumane, actually, and it's very, very disturbing that one of his primary characteristics that the Biden team is putting forward is this is an outspoken advocate for abortion, and so he should be leading Health and Human Services.
Senator Lankford, in light of some of those concerns and those lawsuits in California against conscience providers, I know that you have introduced the Conscience Protection Act. Can you tell us more about that and what it aims to do?
I can, actually. There's something very specific to California and to other areas as well. A healthcare provider that goes into healthcare to be able to help preserve life shouldn't be forced to take life. If they have a conscience issue, which many healthcare providers do with taking of life in an abortion, they shouldn't be compelled by their employer to be able to do that. But in California and in other places, there are clear cases where someone who had verbally spoken up or in writing when they joined in with a healthcare provider said, I am opposed morally to abortion. Later, they're drug into an abortion procedure and saying you need to be able to be involved in this. In other words, to keep your job, you need to be able to help take life when you came here to be able to preserve life. Those individuals' conscience should be protected. This shouldn't be a difficult issue. Javier Becerra has spoken out in opposition to that, as was listed earlier by you, is that he's been very outspoken to say that pro-life clinics that are out there have to be able to, under Javier Becerra's world, they have to be able to also promote abortion in a pro-life facility. He's been so outspoken on abortion. He even led a charge from California confronting Mississippi, entirely different state and region of the country, saying that they're too opposed to abortion, and so California is trying to be able to file suit against Mississippi. He's not been just a passive person for abortion, he's been an active abortion promoter. When you're trying to get pro-abortion posters into pro-life clinics, that's not supporting the quote-unquote right to abortion. That's an abortion promoter. That's a very different level for us. And quite frankly, for someone who values the life of every child, I can't process through how we actually put someone leading our health care that only thinks some children are valuable and some children are not.
Senator, to the pandemic, the COVID relief package may get a full House vote as early as this weekend. It comes, of course, with that hefty, nearly $2 trillion price tag. How much of your opposition has to do with how the bill would affect the federal debt?
Quite a bit, actually. We've done over $4 trillion in spending for COVID last year. All those were bipartisan bills. All those we worked out to be able to determine we need to spend what we need to spend, but not more than we need to spend. Understanding that every single dollar we spend on COVID is something we're borrowing from our children or from China or from other places. So before we borrow more money to be able to spend on what people want, we need to make sure that we're covering only the essential needs. So let's borrow what we need to get through it, but not more than we need to. The Biden team has not even tapped in even close to half of what was actually allocated in December. So we did almost $1 trillion in additional COVID relief in December. Most of that has not been spent yet. Yet the Biden team is saying they want to be able to put their name on a $1.9 trillion package, almost $2 trillion of it. The majority of that money wouldn't even be spent, couldn't even be allocated until 2022. And some of it is for things like tunnels in San Francisco and bridges in New York and things that are clearly not COVID-related costs. This is just being loaded up with a bunch of additional gimmies that different individual senators or House members want for their districts. And so they're loading it up and calling it a COVID package when clearly it's not a COVID package, when most of the spending doesn't even happen this year.
Senator, we only have about a half minute left. I know you sit on the Homeland Security Committee, which held a joint hearing today on the Capitol insurrection. You asked whether there's still a need for the stepped-up security presence still on the Capitol. What was the answer you got?
Yeah, I don't have a clear answer on that yet. They're trying to keep the security presence, what is this fortress that's around the United States Capitol, at least through the middle of March. We're trying to go back to saying we need to be able to make sure that our Capitol Police have everything they need, but we should not look like a fortress around this Capitol, and we need to be able to get some balance back into this perspective again. So we're pushing on this. So as odd as it sounds, we're nudging on the Biden team to saying you're trying to stop walls and fences on the southern border, but put up walls in Washington, D.C. Let's have some reasoning here in the process.
Yeah, quite a dichotomy. Senator James Langford of Oklahoma, good to have you this evening with us. Thank you.
You bet. Thank you all very much.
Thank you. Well, COVID continues to take a toll even after crossing that monumental threshold of half a million American lives.
Now, last night, President Biden and the nation paused to remember the victims.
We often hear people described as ordinary Americans. There's no such thing. There's nothing ordinary about them. The people we lost were extraordinary.
And as the nation grieves, there is some hope. The average daily number of cases and deaths are both declining. And more than 13% of Americans have received at least one dose of the coronavirus vaccine. In another positive sign, Johnson & Johnson says it will deliver 20 million single-shot doses by the end of March. That's if they get FDA emergency authorization, which could happen as early as this weekend.
And we'll be right back after the break.
Hey, if you're tired and exhausted all day, you can't think clearly, and you really just need a cup or even a pot of coffee to get through your day, then join me, Dr. Josh Axe, for this new series where I'm going to teach you how to transform your diet and use essential oils and supplements to get a better night's sleep.
Wake up to your best life. Call 1-800-700-7000 to get your free DVD or booklet of Protect Your Sleep today.
It's about the competition. I kind of put that pressure on myself, and I think people had expectations.
It's about overcoming.
We use this phrase all the time, keep chopping, keep practicing hard.
It's about going the distance.
You know, I think as a father, it's my job, to lead. Just be the best husband and father I can be.
Watch Going the Distance with Sean Brown Saturday night at 7:30 on the CBN News Channel.
Orphans Promise is committed to loving and serving at-risk children, to helping keep families together, and to creating opportunities for strong and sustainable communities around the world. We're working in over 60 countries around the world, and with your help, we can do even more. There's an old African proverb I love that says, if you want to run fast, run alone. But if you want to run far, run together. At Orphans Promise, we want to run far so we can touch the lives of as many orphaned and vulnerable children as possible. But we don't want to go alone. We're out to change the world, one child, one family, one community at a time. Will you join us?
And welcome back. Tonight, while some of Biden's top cabinet picks are sailing through, others are facing tough confirmation hearings. Beyond Javier Becerra, Biden's choice to be the nation's top public health official, and Merrick Garland, his nominee for America's top cop, Deb Haaland, who may become the first Native American cabinet secretary, faces tough questions over fracking and oil pipelines, as well as her support for the Green New Deal in her bid to head up the Interior Department. And though she won Senate confirmation today as the new UN ambassador, Linda Thomas Greenfield took heat for a 2019 speech on China.
Well, Republican Senators Mitt Romney and Susan Collins, along with Democrat Joe Manchin, opposed Biden's pick for White House Budget Director Neera Tanden for her posts on social media criticizing Republicans.
President Biden has talked a lot about tone. You walk into this being hired with a very, very different tone.
I know it's on me to demonstrate to this committee and to Republican members and Democratic members I can work with anyone. And that burden is on my shoulders, and it is one that I plan to take on.
And here with us now is our CBN News chief political analyst, David Brody. David, President Biden made a big pledge on unity, but are the nominees he's putting forward capable of helping to unify the country?
Well, John, I mean, they're left, but they're not radical progressives. Well, excuse me, Javier Becerra, that's different. Neera Tanden, different. And there are a few others. But overall, I mean, look, Janet Yellen, she's not a flamethrower. Merrick Garland, Anthony Blinken, Tony Blinken. So, I mean, I think it's been a smorgasbord, and he's running into problems on Neera Tanden. She's not going to get through. And the question on Javier Becerra will be, will Joe Manchin and Bob Casey from Pennsylvania, two Democrats. Those are the two to watch. He's got to have those two Democrats to get through. So we watch Manchin and Bob Casey. If not, Becerra's in trouble.
Yeah. David, in a democratically controlled Congress, do you see some of these people like a Becerra, do you see them getting through?
Well, like I said, Becerra is probably going to get through. My sense is it's going to be very hard for Manchin or Casey to vote against him at this point. So I think it'll be fine ultimately. But, you know, Deb Haaland, could run into problems as well as Secretary of Interior. Remember, John, you mentioned fracking and oil, but there's another issue, too. She didn't disclose $16,000 of her salary, which is about a third of her salary back in 2018 that was casino related. So she's having problems there as well. So that's another one to watch.
All right. CBN Chief Political Analyst David Brody, we always appreciate your insights. Thanks for being with us today.
Thanks.
And when we come back, the plight of the Yazidi people in Iraq, why the region is turning into a powder keg, and what it means for Christians.
Daddy?
Yeah, buddy?
How many nickels are in a dollar?
There are 20 nickels in a dollar.
How do birds fly? Does milk really make my bones stronger?
Yeah.
Daddy, when we die, will we go to heaven?
Do you have the answer to life's biggest question? Call the 700 Club. We'll help you find answers to the important questions life brings your way.
Watch breaking news, in-depth exclusive stories and programs from health to entertainment you won't find anywhere else. The CBN News Channel, a perspective you can trust. Enjoy credible news reporting from around the world. Discover inspiring programs and stories of hope, all in one place from a Christian perspective. The CBN News Channel, a perspective you can trust. To watch the CBN News Channel, download the app or visit cbnnewschannel.com.
Hello, I'm Dr. David Perlmutter, board-certified neurologist and #1 New York Times bestselling author. Wouldn't it be great to boost your energy, eliminate brain fog, and even reverse brain disease? Well, you can, and I'm going to show you how, along with some of the world's most well-respected brain experts in this DVD, Protect Your Brain.
Get Protect Your Brain, a free DVD only from the Christian Broadcasting Network, featuring experts on the cutting edge of neuroscience and brain health.
No matter how many times you've failed in the past, you really can do this.
In Protect Your Brain, you'll discover simple strategies to keep your brain young and healthy. Improve your memory. Discover the gut-brain connection. In Protect Your Brain, get your free copy at cbn.com or call 1-800-700-7000.
If you want to improve the quality of your life, get the DVD Protect Your Brain and get it today.
And welcome back. Well, some disturbing news here. This month, the bodies of 13 Turks were found inside a cave in northern Iraq, reportedly killed at the hands of the Kurdistan Workers' Party, or the PKK.
Yeah, now the Yazidi people, a religious minority in the region, fear Turkey could use this tragedy to further terrorize them. CBN's Jennifer Wishon has more.
The Yazidi people are routinely persecuted. You may remember in 2014, they faced genocide at the hands of ISIS. And now the land they call home has once again become a powder keg. And for more on this, we're joined by Nadine Mayenza, who is a commissioner on the U.S. Commission for International Religious Freedom. Nadine, thanks for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
So tell us, what is the situation in Sinjar?
So currently there are rumors, or actually the president of Turkey has indicated that there's a possibility that he'll either invade or do a major military operation in Sinjar in order to go after the Kurdistan Workers' Party, or the PKK, which is very troubling to those of us that care about the religious minorities, care about the Yazidi community, because we know this is a catastrophe for them, and it's causing all sorts of instability.
So what is the PKK's presence in Sinjar? Is there a big presence there? Why is Turkey so interested in this mountain range?
So when ISIS was moving through Iraq and Syria and terrorizing religious minorities to build their caliphate, they really targeted, the Yazidis the worst. Christians were given the right to pay a tax, convert, or flee, but the Yazidis were not. And so in August of 2014, ISIS entered Sinjar. And so, the people that were supposed to protect the Yazidis, the Iraqi security forces, the Peshmerga, they fled. And so what happened is the PKK, the Kurdistan Workers' Party, came across inward from Syria, along with the YPG, along with the Syriac Military Council, the Christian forces. Some others came in to help the Yazidis escape and to save a lot of them. Those who were stuck in Sinjar that weren't able to escape, of course, we've now called this genocide. And the men and the older women were murdered. The young women were taken and sold into sexual slavery. Their children were taken. The girls also into slavery, the boys to be soldiers. So 2,800 women and children are still missing. So this is a horrible situation, but the PKK were the ones that were there helping them. And so the PKK that is present in Sinjar, no one believes that they are planning an attack on Turkey. Just this last week, they were bombing Christian village Adora. They talked about how they can't go to church. They can't leave their homes because of the Turkish airstrike. So religious minorities seem to be the ones being targeted the most by this action by Turkey.
I received a message on social media from a Yazidi man who is concerned about Arab militias, Islamist militias who are working alongside Turkey. Can you tell me what role they're playing in the situation?
So in Syria, when Turkey invaded, they brought along with them the Free Syrian Army, which is Islamist, groups as part of their soldiers invading Syria. And what has also been documented is that quite a few of these fighters are former ISIS fighters. So imagine being a Yazidi in Sinjar and still trying to recover what ISIS has done to you over 6 years ago, and finding out Turkey may invade with those same forces, some former ISIS fighters that may be part of the ISIS that invaded Sinjar. So it's very troubling.
Nadine Mienza, thank you for the work you're doing on this, and we'll keep checking in with you about the Yazidis in Sinjar.
I look forward to it. Thank you so much for your care.
And thank you, Jennifer. Coming up, perseverance pays off. We have a front row seat to NASA's Mars rover landing next.
I am Region's first ROTC graduate student.
Five, 4, 3, 2, 1. I'm Ephraim Graham. Welcome to Studio 5.
Get on it.
All that's new and now in the world of uplifting entertainment with celebrity interviews.
There's a higher contribution I will make.
Musical performances. I'll give you my best praise. Plus movie and TV news.
See it and be uplifted.
On Studio 5. Every Wednesday at 5 p.m. Eastern at cbn.com/Studio 5.
How'd you like to get a redo on your health, on your body, on your arteries, so you could have the energy you had 20 years ago? The great news is you can. I'm Dr. Mike Roizen, chair of the Wellness Institute at the Cleveland Clinic. I've written 4 New York Times bestsellers. But even better than having to read all that, you can listen to this DVD and watch it. Protect your heart? Yes, you can. Here's how.
Go to cbn.com or call 1-800-700-7000 for your free copy of Protect Your Heart. Let the medical experts show you their new discoveries on how to avoid heart disease and even reverse it. Easy steps to uncover the hidden dangers in your medicine cabinet, reduce stress, and get a complete do-over for your health. Call 1-800-700-7000. That's 1-800-700-7000. Or go to cbn.com to claim your free copy of Protect Your Heart.
Finally tonight, for anyone wondering how much perseverance it takes to land on Mars, look no further than the most recent landing.
That's right. NASA's Perseverance captured some of the most iconic footage in space exploration history as it touched down on the red planet last week. Take a look. The spacecraft's cameras captured the scene as it plummeted towards the surface of Mars and deployed the largest parachute ever sent into space. A microphone captured the first audio from the surface of Mars after a flawless touchdown.
It was certainly flawless, and Jenna, those images that we're seeing back from that rover are just amazing. I will say, though, I don't know if you had a chance to listen, the audio wasn't so much.
Yeah, a little crackly.
A little crackly there.
Hard to decipher. You know, those images don't even look real. It's incredible. That's so cool.
Yeah. Well, thanks for watching.
Have a great night.